everyone, and a very good morning. What a turnout it has been. We have over 200 attendees already, and we are just beginning. So, once again, a very good morning or a good afternoon, depending on where you are joining us from today. I'm Tarun Nagpal, your host for the day and the director of Global Tech Nexus and CXO Tech Exchange, which is a technology community and also the organizer of this session. On behalf of our partner Infobip, we would like to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you to our digital masterclass on next generation messaging with RCS. This session is powered by experts from Infobip and Google, two global leaders in communication technology working together to transform the way businesses engage and communicate with their customers. Let's start with a quick thought. When was the last time you actually opened and engaged with a traditional SMS from a brand? If you are like most consumers, the answer is probably rarely, right? In today's world, customers expect more than just a plain text, and that's exactly why we are here today. Over the next 1 hour or so, we will cover how leading brands are using RCS to drive real engagement and conversations, create rich, compelling messaging experience, actionable strategies to integrate RCS into your communication stack, and future proof your customer engagement. By the end of this session, our industry experts will make sure that you are equipped with knowledge and strategies to create conversations that are not just seen but also experienced with real time interactions. And the best part is that it makes interactions safer, more reliable with verified sender IDs to help build trust with your customers. Can it get any better than this, guys? Before we move forward, I'd like to request our audience to fully participate. We will have a dedicated Q&A session towards the end, but feel free to type in your questions throughout the session on our Q&A tab. And to help us navigate through this, we have an incredible lineup of industry speakers who will be sharing their experiences and strategies with you. To begin with, we have with us Dennis Koryanich from Infobip, who drives the adoption of Infobip's communication solutions, helping businesses enhance engagement and achieve growth. And then we have Shraddha Thapa, who is the regional head government and OTT platform partners for Infobip, helping large enterprises adopt digital communication channels to maximize operational efficiency and improve customer experience. And then we have with us Jarvis Chua, who is the solution engineer at Infobip. He specializes in integrating Infobip solution, optimizing customer interactions and business operations. And to get us started and to kick things off, I would like to welcome our opening speaker, Vinu Jose, Partner Development Manager from Google, driving RCS business messaging, go to market initiatives, and customer engagement. On this note, I would like to welcome Vinu Jose to the main stage. Vinu, you will have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I hope everybody can hear me.
Yep.
Thank you, Tarun. Thank you for the introduction. And thank you, everyone, for joining this webinar. It's really heartening to see all the people who are participating. Without much ado, let me present my screen and jump into the presentations that I have. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Once more, it's indeed a pleasure to be here with you all today. Thank you for joining this webinar on next generation messaging with RCS, where thanks to Infobip and Global Tech Nexus, I am getting an opportunity to present Google's view on the future of messaging with RCS. Conventionally, we've always kind of equated messaging with texting. And that's the concept that we want to unravel, relook, redefine today. SMS has been around for a very long time, as long as I guess mobile phones have been around for more than 30 years now. But right from the beginning, the need for SMS to be much more richer, much more than just texting has been uh, and there have been industry bodies who are looking at how to improve messaging both for person to person communication and for enterprises to reach out to users. And there's been many such efforts to improve SMS. I think over the many years, the one that really broke out and is is getting adopted world over is a standard called as RCS. RCS stands for Rich Communication Services, and we're gonna get to know a little bit more about RCS today, hopefully. And to talk about that, this is me, Vinu Jose. My email address is vinuj@google.com. So, in case you have any follow up questions or need any sort of guidance on RCS, please do feel free to reach out to me either on email or my LinkedIn is at Vinumanijo. So, you should be able to find me there as well. Okay, so before we go into what RCS can do for business, we need to really understand a little bit on what RCS is. As I said, RCS stands for Rich Communication Services. It's a standard developed under the aegis of GSMA, which is a body of telecom operators across the world. And even Google became a member of GSMA some time back. We adopted the standard proposed by GSMA, RCS, into the default messaging application in your Android phones. Till a while back, that used to be called Android Messages. Now we call it Google Messages. So any Android device the world over would have a standard messages app, which is where you get your SMS. That now is RCS powered. And that this has different implications. What it means is the ability for Google to scale up RCS across the world is immense. As we speak, there are more than 1 billion RCS powered messages client across the world. And if I go by certain reports that has been published and is in the public domain, that number is expected to rise to 6.5 billion by 2027. Now, what does that mean for a user like you and me? It means richer messages, functionalities that you're very familiar with OTT messaging platforms like photo emojis, read receipts, bubbles, screen effects, voice, sending voice over messages, reactions, emojis, and even profiles. It just makes SMS a whole lot more than just texting. Now, for the audience here, I understand that what is more important is RCS for business. How can a business use this all new set of functionalities that RCS brings in to create more engaging communication? Like what Tarun was alluding to, how does a business make conversations with the user more engaging? Here is a screen grab of a simple use case where a rail company can enable ticket booking. It shows the ticket being booked from London to Paris. The user is able to select a meal for the journey and eventually pay for it all while still staying in the messages window. Imagine the convenience that it offers. A lot of times, brands spend a lot of time, money, effort in getting users to download their application. Very often, that itself is a very hard endeavor. And even after the user is downloaded an application, the adoption is the challenge. Sometimes they mute their notifications, so reaching out to the users becomes challenging. So these are very compelling differentiators for RCS compared to effort in getting users to download your applications and engage through an application. Right. What other benefits does it bring in? You can think of RCS as some sort of an extension on your application, as an extension of your brand sitting inside the messages client. of your customer's phone. Now, the messages client, the advantages are many compared to many other OTT applications. World over, pretty much, the messages client is where users receive brand related communication. I get my OTPs, I get my notifications from my bank, everything on the messages app. So when I know that I need to talk to a brand, my logical place is either say Google search or Google Messages now. That's what we are envisaging. Now, if that is the case, how do you make this space for your brand trusted and engaging? These are some of our efforts to achieve that. If you look at the screen, this is how your brand space looks within the messages window. You can have a name of your brand displayed here. Unlike an SMS sender ID, there is no limitation in the length of what can be displayed in the name. You can project your logo here. And there's also a tick mark here, which means that the brand has been verified. Now, this is extremely important because communication between a brand and the user has to be trusted. It has to be trusted from two different fronts. One, as a brand, you need to make sure, you need to be sure that nobody is nobody is taking up your brand identity and uh, trying to uh, scam your users, your customers, and so on, trying to impersonify you. As a user, I also need to be sure that when I'm talking to somebody, it is the right brand or the brand that I think I'm talking to on the other side. Now, this is achieved through the verification process. Each country where RCS for Business is launched has its own regulations, its own processes by which this verification process is achieved. We can go into those details later on. But if I talk more about the features that RCS for Business brings in, it also brings in things like easy one tap replies, which enables a very channeled process of communication between the user and the brand. It has other functionalities by bringing in the power of the Android ecosystem and thereby the entire power of the mobile handset into the messages window. By deep integration with other Android applications, you can achieve functionalities like payment by integrating with the payment application which is in the user's phone, or integrate with Google Calendars, Google Wallet, Google Maps, or even call buttons. Right? All of this is currently feasible with RCS for Business. I've shown here a functionality where no QR code can be sent to a user's messages app, and that QR code can then reside. Maybe it's a boarding pass and can go into your wallet, or maybe it's a loyalty card and again be stored in the Google Wallet and be used when it is hit. And finally, the most exciting thing from a brand perspective is that you are just not sending text messages to your user. You can send videos, you can send pictures, and that just takes the engagement level from your user to a whole different level. Now, what are our prerogatives as far as Google is concerned on making this widely adopted? The first objective that we're trying to get is reach. As I said, there are more than 1 billion RCS monthly active users in RCS across the world. Now, that is RCS enabled handset. Not all countries across the world has RCS for business launched today. In our part of the world, in Asia Pacific, we have India, we have Singapore, and Indonesia that are launched today. We have a few more countries coming up in this year, but eventually, our aim is to get RCS for Business available for brands and enterprises all across the world. Now, we're working on building awareness both from users and for brand stakeholders such as yourself, and that's why we are here today also. We are driving RCS adoption world over. And what I really want to talk more about is what are the features that are usable for you today and what is coming up in the near future. As brand marketers and brand stakeholders, how can you use RCS a little better than what you're doing today to reach your customers? Okay. I want to take this through a hypothetical example of, say, an airline booking scenario. If you can see on the first screen, there is an airline who sent a message uh, to a user to get the user to select a seat on the airline that he's booked. The user is able to see the an image, and thereby and thereon click and select the seat that he or she wants, and subsequently make a payment for that particular service using GPay here. And it's not just restricted to GPay. It can be any payment application which is there on the user's device. Now, having done that, the user is able to save the details of the travel into Google Calendar so that timely reminders are sent to the user. On the day of the travel, the airline sends a message again to the user. And this time, the airline wants to guide the user to the right terminal. And for that, they send a link which opens up in Google Maps. And subsequently, on the way to the terminal, I have a few queries. I want to reach out to the airline just to ensure that, okay, is there a gate change or something for my journey? I just asked the question, and the questioner responded on the messages window by an AI powered chatbot. An AI powered chatbot can be built using Google's Vertex.ai platform, which seamlessly integrates with RCS for business. And eventually, when the user is about to uh, enter the airport, he or she can take out the boarding pass from Google Wallet and use it as a fish. This showcases the power of the ecosystem and how deeply RCS can be integrated into it. So we've come a long way from equating SMS with texting or messaging with texting. The potential is much, much more than that. And that's where we see this going towards. That's where it comes. So in terms of more flexible features that we are bringing in this year, a very exciting feature that our early pilot partners have been excited about is called search to message. Google search is an arena where a lot of users find information about the brands that they want to engage with. Now, we've built in a functionality where in certain search queries, for example, a user is searching for ABC Bank and customer service because they want to reach out to the bank and talk to somebody who can solve their problems. In the Google search result page, and if they're searching from their mobile device, there can be a button which, upon clicking, pops up the Google Messages application from the user's phone and directly takes the user to have a conversation with the customer service representative over Google Messages. Right? That's an extremely powerful new feature that we're bringing in. Again, part of integrating with the larger ecosystem and messages. We're also bringing what we call as P2A entry points. Usually, brand communications to a user is initiated by the brand. Now, what if the user needs to initiate a conversation first? These could be scenarios like, okay, you walk into a bank and you want to take a token for talking to somebody at the desk, and in the meantime, you can maybe present a form to the user for filling in the bare minimum details like customer number or name, address, or something like that. Or it could be like you are entering a train station and there is a QR code presented to the user which the user can scan, and it takes the user to the messages window from where the rest of the ticketing journey, purchase journey, can be completed. We're also bringing in functionality for two-way PDF uploads, which means, say, utility companies can send monthly bills and receipts to the user. And if for some reason there is a scenario where the user needs to send some documentation back to the brand, they can also upload the same using a PDF and send it over the messages channel. We're also bringing in integration with Imagen, which is Google's AI-powered image generation tool. So if as a brand, you want to create images for your RCS campaigns, it can be done using AI, and that image is in the format that's formatted for RCS communication. Makes that image generation and engagement process a lot faster for brands. Again, these are a couple of examples that I want to show you. This is a bank in India, Union Bank of India. A user who searches for Union Bank of India and customer care on Google search from their mobile devices sees a button here. This is saying chat with a live agent, and upon clicking, the messages window from his or her phone opens up, and there is a ping going to Union Bank of India's live agent. This is how AI has been used to create chatbots and deliver over RCS. Seem to have some technical challenges with the image being the video being playing here, but I can walk you through this. What I want to show is a Gen.
Vinu, sorry to interrupt. The video was actually visible, Vinu. In case you are trying to play the video, the audience can actually see the video.
Oh, okay. Can you see the video now? I can't see it from my end. Sorry.
Right now, yes, it's not playing.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this is an AI-powered chatbot, Vertex AI, which integrates with Google Messages and RCS, where a user is having a conversation in perfectly natural language. So you're not expecting the user to punch in specific keywords or anything. He or she is talking to you in plain English, and we can have different language options as well. And the respond and the communication is happening within the messages window. Right? And that goes back to the chatbot agent, and it responds. Here in this case, using what we call as carousels, which are multiple images with multiple clickable options. The user can horizontally scroll through it and take the necessary action. One of the other use cases that I was mentioning is about journeys initiated by the user. Here you can see the user is scanning a QR code, and he's prompted to open the next conversation on Google Messages, in this case Axis Bank, and the user is able to communicate on Google Messages on a journey initiated by the user, not by the brand. So if you're excited, that's what I want to urge you to do. Start simple. You might be using SMS for a lot of your campaigns or communications. Start simple by shifting those to RCS. You will immediately see a lot of uplift in terms of engagement from the users. Start simple by sending images or videos, and then to more mature and more engaging conversation with your user. Start today, walk, run, and fly. This channel is available to you in multiple markets. Hopefully, you will use to reach out to more than 1 billion active users across the world. Finally, I just want to end with a couple of use cases. Axis Bank. Axis Bank in India used RCS for business for helping customers inquire about loan applications, credit cards, and fixed deposits, and so on. More than 10 million monthly messages were sent. Axis Bank was super happy to see that there's been 4 times greater click rates compared to SMS. Finally, a use case from the US, Walmart, a massive retail giant, used RCS business messages to enable end-to-end shopping experiences. So as you can see, they presented multiple carousels to a target set of user based on what they felt was the user's likely propensity to purchase an item, and it enabled adding to cart and finally purchase action, all within the messages window. They could get 99.9% delivery rates on RCS and 51% response rate. That's just a couple of very exciting use cases that we're seeing across the world that I want to showcase to you to encourage you to take the next step on RCS. With that, I want to hand it over to Dennis and Shraddha from Infobip and to share their perspective. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vinu, very much. We appreciate you sharing the information as well as the support you and the team have provided us in all of the activities that we have done so far, both in India, in Singapore, and Indonesia as well. Hello, everybody. From my side as well, I would like to thank everybody for being with us today. We have more than 200 people joining in. And continuing off where Vinu has stopped, myself, Dennis, and Shraddha from Infobip are going to be talking to you a bit more in detail about how RCS compares to SMS, naturally, some of the things that Vinu has already spoken about in a bit more details, but also how it compares to other existing chat applications that we have had in the communications industry as well. Very quickly, I work with a lot of different companies adopting a lot of different chat applications around Asia Pacific. And Shraddha here, I'll let you introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi everyone, Shraddha here. We know it was very insightful. What we want to bring across now that Vinu has explained what is RCS, what can be done on RCS, is a small comparison between RCS and other chat apps, so that you have a clear understanding on what we are talking about. Hopefully, we'll be able to convey in a very interactive manner because we plan to do this together, Dennis and I. So welcome again, everyone.
Absolutely. Okay, well, this is something that we've seen in previous slides as well. But what's important is for us to understand how a direct upgrade, a verified sender, together with the branding and additional information, using rich media carousels, enables businesses to leave a bigger impact towards their subscribers and users. All of this backed up together with all the additional data and any additional analytic information that we might need to understand the behavior of our users and where they like to interact with us the most. This is to some extent nothing new per se for businesses today. In the A2P communications industry, we have had exactly this available with chat applications as well. And it is important to know that naturally, now with RCS working backed by both Google and the telcos, we have this entire environment in a more dynamic and visually appealing messaging experience available in the native inbox of our phones, naturally, and as well enabling these interactive features, as well as a verified branded information from the brands that we have built together through many years of different business activities, allows our users to be a very interactive with us in a two-way communications mode, even for transactions, not just for reporting issues or opening customer support cases as well. And naturally, I guess after using SMS, A2P SMS for 20 years now, we have a credible solution of knowing specifically which user has seen and read which message to what they have interacted with as well. Right, and we have seen all of this available again in a native environment on our mobile phones in our SMS inboxes, with less reliance for opt-ins naturally from other channels. It's a seamless integration with existing SMS setup, as well as providing these additional assurances that we have from carriers as well. Shraddha, I would actually love to get your information. India has been the market that has had RCS the longest in Asia Pacific, and I know for a fact that you've had a lot of businesses transition from their SMS user journeys towards RCS as well. So would you be okay to share a couple of these experiences with everybody here today?
Definitely. So in India, we've had like great start to RCS, and clearly, adding to what Vinu said and what you told in the last slide, over SMS, we work with a lot of brands who are very happy to move SMS traffic to RCS with the only clear indication, because on SMS the open rates, the click-through rates were very low, and it was always dipping. So RCS came as a winner because, suddenly, when users were receiving messages, they could actually relate the brand with the message. And it was, we could use carousel, so it was very interactive. So there was a good uplift in India. A lot of brands adopted. Infobip has failovers. Later, Jarvis will take it up. We have failover APIs. We can just move SMS traffic to RCS, seamlessly. So I think it works without much integration. So it was great uplift in terms of open rates and CTRs. And secondly, on features also, India saw like Avino also showed Axis Bank and Union Bank use cases. In features also, there was great adoption. We see a lot of BFSI picking up use cases like calendar, because one can set up their premium reminders, one can set up their mutual fund reminders, payment reminders. So it acts as a great use case because it actually sits on your Google Calendar once it's set up. So I think the adoption has been great. In terms of scalability, we've seen the market scale, and from last couple of months we've seen great adoption in terms of features we mentioned. So hopefully we'll look at many more use cases when it comes to adoption of rest of the features we explained today. So
Absolutely, that's really good to hear. And for context, I assume that having this native integration on let's say device level, of having access to calendar or any other applications as well, I think this is a both benefit to the business that adopts RCS, as well as pretty much any user that is let's say more prone to interacting with businesses in the future with RCS as well. It's a one-click activity nowadays, as you said. Add anything to the calendar, initiate a payment process or anything else, right?
yeah, correct. I mean, like I mentioned, earlier it was just movement of SMS to RCS where people immediately saw result. And now with the adoption, they're actually able to, have more meaningful conversation, more engagement from customers, and right in their SMS window, because that's where, they expect business to interact with them, it's a clear demarcation from your personal chat apps to, where business can interact with you. So I think it fits in very correctly with such use cases.
Awesome, perfect. Well, you mentioned chat apps as well, so I think it would be a benefit as well to touch on this. I think this is something that at least we've heard so far is a very important part of understanding RCS, especially from the consumer side, as well as to how it differs, right? So I reckon we can assume roles for at least this session of advocating or just explaining ourselves to each other, introducing ourselves. I'll be taking on the role of RCS. Maybe you can
And
take
the
on the
other
role of
chat apps for this, just to
perfect.
call out what I'm good with when it comes to chat.
Absolutely, absolutely perfect. Well, I think it goes without without question to introduce myself as I mean, as RCS, I am available on all the native phones, both supporting Android 5 as 5.0 as well as iOS 18. But what about you as an external chat
Chat
application?
apps, that's
How
the
did this
only
work?
thing. Like for chat apps, one needs to require a third-party app. It is not natively present in most of the phones.
See, but it goes without saying, I guess, if I'd have to think about it, it is chat apps that are very dominant and available in majority of the market anyhow. But it is definitely an increased user convenience when it comes to native access, right?
Yeah, I mean, there is great adoption, till date for chat apps as well. It's very regional, also, like, different regions have different chat apps which are more popular. So completely depends on which region you're sitting in.
I see, absolutely. Well, when it comes to sending different content towards these regions and different markets, I think it's important to note that we on RCS, we do not have a lot of templates in enforcements. Companies can manage their marketing campaigns and messaging campaigns on the go, depending on responses of the users and thus forth. How about you? How does this work with you?
So, well, in as far as other chat apps are concerned, there is a whitelisting mechanism from the chat app providers, of course, and also to call out for RCS in India, like for some, it's a carrier-led service when it comes to giving out business APIs. So there are some providers who whitelist, there are some who don't. So just to call out for India.
Yes, absolutely.
What about
It's a very
Dennis, what about opt-ins? What works? Because in chat apps we see that explicit opt-ins are required, and usually the brands are very the chat app providers are very strict about calling out explicit opt-ins, and sometimes it becomes very difficult to get these in place, because there is a big change at the brands end to actually explicitly mention every new chat app, every chat app that they need to take opt-in. And what about RCS?
Well, as part of an attempt to upgrade the existing messaging experiences as well, having an opt-in that the user has expressed intent to receive content from us over any channel or pre-existing channels as well is absolutely more than enough. During the setup process, we need to have a visible view of a user's entry point as well as an exit point should they decide to have this. But other than that, there is no additional need for, let's say, orchestrating an entire communications or media campaign to collect these explicitly additional opt-ins for RCS. And I think that's that just allows us to start a bit more seamlessly, especially in these initial steps that are critical for user adoption as well as business adoption at the same time. Well, talking about the setup as well, I can proudly say that on RCS, when it comes to getting the verified tick mark and applying all the additional business information as well, this is done pretty much automatically at the beginning stage as well. But I've heard that in some aspects of some different chat applications as well, there are specific processes for this. Am I right?
Yeah, it's a longer process in comparison, and there is a bit of documentation which needs to be uploaded. So only upon request, only upon submission of documents. So it's a bit longer process in comparison to RCS, that chat apps need to provide a verified account.
I see. And does this limit per se any different industries? Is this something that is specific to markets, or how do different industries come on board then in this case?
So it completely depends on country to country. The chat apps follow their regulations for the country. For example, certain industries are prohibited in India, and certain, similar, the same vertical would be open in other countries and other areas in LATAM. So it is completely, upon the chat app providers where they belong to and what verticals are prohibited. So it completely is driven by like third-party regulations, which is defined, by the chat app providers. Is
Okay.
it similar for RCS or, any different?
Well, I think that the nature of the service being backed by both Google and the telcos, it allows us just to follow the local market regulations and telco regulations that are provided and defined by the regulatory agency in any country out there. We aim to make it simple and make it native to the country where businesses are operating in, to follow the laws and again these local business practices as well. I think this will partner the most and most natural expansion of RCS in the coming months as well, now that we have 3 countries in Asia Pacific live, and at the same time we will have more, as Vinny mentioned, later this year as well. So it's just gonna allow us for both horizontal and vertical expansion as well.
In all, I think it's fairly an easier onboarding and easier channel when it comes to using for business brands to use business APIs. So I think overall, in comparison to chat apps, it looks fairly simpler from what we've compared and we've experienced. So yeah, I mean,
absolutely. But I do like to point out something, and this is something that we in Infobip, I mean, you yourself have done this with many of our teams and partners and clients alike, is there is no need for a specific choice, let's say. RCS is potentially just one in the entire chain of orchestrated communications that businesses can actually apply. And with Infobip, our platform, our entire stack, supporting a very customizable yet automated way through our different platform integrations, as well as the ability to integrate with different chat applications together with RCS and SMS, can make this entire journey more natural towards our partners and clients that are managing all this towards their users, but also the users that consume information through these channels as well. I think you can say this.
yeah, I mean, when we use RCS, APIs or other chat app APIs, especially RCS, the journeys which we were showing, on top of RCS APIs, we have our own chatbot solution called Answers. We have our agent solution called Conversations, and we have our automation called Moments, which can easily sit on top of it and, put, all these use cases to life, bring it to life, so I think I will not reveal much. We have Jarvis from our team coming next. So, in short, whatever features Vinu has spoken about, whatever use cases that are possible, I think Jarvis is here to explain, how to bring all those to life and how simply it can be done. I think he'll be able to tell in the next section. So with this, I introduce him. But besides that, we have a poll running right now. I would urge you all to fill this very simple and interesting poll. It's you must have experienced RCS in your, if you're an Android user, you must have experienced any RCS message from any business. So we just want to understand from you, like, how do you feel about it, and do you connect more when you see a very interactive message? So please fill up this poll as we move to next section, and bring Jarvis here on the screen. Thanks, everyone.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Off to you, Jarvis.
Yes, Jarvis, with the
Yes.
poll over here.
Thank you. Give me a while when I'll share my screen for a while. Sec.
Sure, Jarvis. You can take about 30 seconds. We'll allow all the attendees to respond to the poll questions. You can take about 20 to 30 seconds. Super.
So hopefully that's enough time for that.
Yes.
Okay, so hi everyone. So what I'm gonna do right now is basically to showcase our Infobip's platform in terms of sending out RCS messages, and to hopefully be able to showcase the ease of it in terms of sending it, and then of course, on top of that, to be able to add like conditions with our flow, and maybe that should present something new for you guys. So what we have here right now is basically our portal. It's our homepage. So first item of the day would be to send messages, or what we call send broadcast. So this allows sending of multiple recipients, as you can see here. Okay, so on top of the top left corner, you can see these are the channels that's available for now. For this case, we will be focusing mostly on RCS, and RCS is currently given these options. So each channels would have their own particular parameters or fields to fill in. But for this one, RCS, it's since we're only doing broadcasts, this would be all the fields that you need. So for example, here, let's see, I just key in a random number just in case. Okay. All right, there's a few ways of putting in the recipients. Just to showcase a few, one of other ways is to basically tag our user records in our CDPs, as I've showed you here under the listing. Of course, there's other variations to it, including if you do want to have segments created for it, it is still possible in this sense, like this. And of course, if not, then you can just basically focusing just on phone numbers, or even better, if you want to do it in batches, you can upload from files, then you'll basically populate the recipient's phone number to be sent. And once you have that, then we select the senders. Of course, as what was presented by my colleagues, you basically have choices of deciding on the sender's name, and once that's done, registered and whatnot, you should be able to select it within the sender's field here. And once that's done, we will go to content. So currently, we have these 4 options. Either you can select to send a text-based RCS message. This is like this. And on the left-hand side, you can see there's a preview in terms of the messages that you cannot expect in terms of what the recipients will see. But for now, I will show what it can do in terms of sending a rich card, which should be more interesting to see in terms of demo in this case. So again, from here, you can see the designs, the parameters or the fields that's available for you. For this case, which will select the card orientation as vertical, set everything as default, provide an image and the image URL. Of course, if you have a video that you want to attach as a RCS message, of course, just put in a URL here, and you should be able to preview it as what you see with the image that I've just done. And other options, optional, are the titles for one. So let's say hello. Okay. So this would be the title. And the other field would be description. So we're going to add a description here. So I'm just going to say like this is the obvious one. So this is a description. And some of the other options would be rich card buttons. So what does it look like? We're going to try to give it a shot. And of course, the rich card buttons, you have a few options here and there. But for this case, let's say you want to send an open URL. So we just like put it this way, just to imagine that it's a website. Then we just put it in this fashion. And then post back website. Yeah, and then there we have it. We have buttons and suggestions, actions. Of course, you can set a few other suggestions, actions for the users to select. But for this case, we're just going to go with this. Reply. And that is basically you can see what the users or recipients will be able to receive. And once you're done with designing, just click Done Design, and you get a preview of what it looks like. And within the broadcast itself, you have the failover to SMS. That's here. So just to give you an idea, let's say we go with failover to SMS with this registered senders for this account, and I say hello there. This is failover SMS. All right. So out of simplistic, to simplify this demonstrations, I'll just keep it simple for this case. So I'll just give it a name, and there you go. Then we go to click to preview. So this gives you an idea of what to expect. For example, this like no valid recipients found. That means that the recipients that I've selected are none of them are has ability to receive RCS. But if in the events that you have of like, for example, multiple recipients, of course, some would not be able to receive it, some can. But for this case, unfortunately, this one can't. But just in case that you need to find some that can, give me a while. Just give you an example of, say, this recipients. And yeah, ready to send. And this recipient can receive RCS, then you launch. So it's some user-friendly ways our platform allows the user to send messages more effectively when it's possible. So yeah, that's basically it to send the broadcasting RCS. Now, the other part that I want to showcase is the flow, the condition. And what it can do is basically means that you can set the conditions for a message that's to be sent, and you can basically put in multiple conditions however you need it based on your use case. But just to simplify this, I'm going to showcase what it looks like when it comes to create conditions for in the event that RCS doesn't get sent, or not say to get sent, but in the event that you can get a response for the user on the RCS channel, and then you can create a follow-up task. What I mean by that is what I'm going to show you right now. So new flow, we're going to start from scratch. Let's do everything from scratch so you can get the look and feel of things. Predefined audience, one time. All right, again, audience people, similar to broadcast, so you have multiple options to it. So I'll just select any of the particular segments that is, let's say like this, one particular segments. So first item would be, let's say we send RCS message. Look for it, send RCS message. Okay, and again, you have to design the message, but to keep things simple, we're gonna do simple one. Give it a name, just in case you can find it later on. Select the sender, similar to just what you have just now. But for this case, I'll go with text, just to keep things simple. Now you can see, again, you can see the preview. And of course, there's some other options there, but we're not going to get into it for now. So once everything is selected and everything is good as designed, then you can click activate, and it should be within here. Yep. So it will reflect in the fields of message templates that you have saved in the platform. So in this case, we select back the particular template that we designed, or the message that we designed just now. And yeah, so this is the RCS message that we're sending out. So this is the part where you can decide the condition. So there's some other options as well, but for this case, we make it thing. We evaluate inbound messages. So for this one, let's select RCS. So what I'm doing right now is creating condition whereby it evaluates the incoming inbound RCS messages. And this allows for, let's say, all or any of the RCS messages that comes in to this to this recipient, which is the sender. And let's say if there's anything that comes in for a message body, let's say message body, if you have an exact match or continuous phrase, let's go with exact match. let's say if you have set a template to have a certain keywords, for this case, let's say subscribe. So if there is a word subscribe, if the word is subscribed within the inbound messages, then it should trigger the condition. And the second condition would be, well, then there's a condition of, if no response in 2 days, what would be the following actions? So let's say if there's no response for 2 days, we send an SMS instead as a failover. But of course, it doesn't have to be SMS. You can select any other channel that's available from the platform. But for this case, we'll just keep it simple. SMS. This is a failover message. Okay. Close. And let's say we receive exact match for the keywords for the first condition. And you can choose from here, like you want to send again another RCS message. But so in a way, for this case, let's just do that, just to give an idea of how things. So this would be your second RCS message after receiving the keywords from the recipients. And that's it. So this provides a simple condition. Of course, there's multiple ways of doing this to set the conditions, but for now, we'll just go with this. And last but not least, you put in a name for it. Let's say RCS demo 1. Right? Then we do a validations. So you're ready for liftoff. That means that the logics are well set and it is ready to be sent. So then we click launch now, and there you go. And it is being submitted for sending in the RCS channel. So the recipient should be able to receive it should they have RCS channels. And that's it. I hope you guys get rough look and feel in terms of what it is, how it feels like it in terms of sending a message. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Yeah, and that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jarvis. Thanks for that wonderful session. As we wrap up today's session, we still have Q&A session coming up. So don't go anywhere. You can put across your questions to our speakers. But before we do that, I would like to thank Jarvis, Dennis, Shraddha, and Venu for that enriching session. I'm sure your session has been helpful to our attendees, and it will help them navigate what they can do to jump into the next generation messaging with RCS. And as we jump into Q&A session with our speakers, I would now like to request all of our attendees to make sure they pour in a lot of questions for our experts. And also, you would be seeing a survey form being sent out to you on your chat. As you ask questions, please make sure you click into the survey form link and fill up the questions as well. And for the Q&A session, I would request Dennis to moderate this. So Dennis, you've been seeing a lot of questions buzzing in. Please go ahead and have fun with it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Yes, we have a plethora of questions already part of our Q&A section, but naturally, anything that we don't get to today, Shraddha, Venu, Jarvis, myself, we're all available on our respective email addresses, on our socials as well. LinkedIn, probably the easiest way to reach us. Ask any questions or ask us for any sort of information sharing as well. It's more than welcome. But actually, to kick it off, I'd like to, there is a question addressed directly to you. In a sense, how does RCS keep businesses and customers safe from fraud and phishing attacks? So maybe we can start with that before moving on to anything else.
Yeah, sure, Dennis. Are you able to see me? For some reason, I think my camera is not working.
We do have a blank screen. I don't know if maybe it will help if you reset it.
Yeah, let's go with this. It's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
As I was speaking in my session, the element of trust is extremely important for building adoption in any channel, and RCS has that element built to its core. So before any brand, the first step is in ensuring that the brand is real. Before a brand can even send a hi message to any user, they have to go through a verification process. The verification process is controlled both by Google and the telecom operator in that market. Right? So that process includes giving the right credentials of the brand and so on before the 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 agent for that brand can be even created, let alone the user be able to send the brand be able to send any message. Now that is about protecting the identity of the brand. How do we prevent that somebody who's not authorized on behalf of the brand creates a fake agent or fake client for using reaching out to the users? That's the whole purpose of this verification process. Now, having ensured that the right stakeholders from a brand is onboarding a brand and an agent. How do we ensure protect the user from phishing attacks in terms of the content that's being used? First of all, when there is traceability, the likelihood of any agent who's been created on RCS is likely to use that channel for phishing or any malpractice is greatly reduced. Even after that case, the content goes through a strict verification process. Google has our own set of acceptable user policies by which every content that's being sent on the channel is supposed to adhere to. And also the carrier, the telecom operator who's offering the service to the brand also has their own policies to ensure that the content itself is not violating any of the policies, including phishing and scamming. Now there is all. I think there were also allusion to spamming. Scamming and spamming are different. Right? There is also an AI-based engine working within the Google Messages app to read the metadata of a message to ensure that the content that's landing on the user's inbox is free from spam, for example. So we have different signals that we kind of listen in on to ensure that whether a certain message is definitely a spamming kind of content, is likely a scam, or something like that. And depending on that, the Google Messages app moves that message to an inbuilt spam folder or tags it as a likely spam message. So different means of protecting the user from scam, spam, phishing, and the brand from somebody who's trying to impersonify the brand itself. I hope that's answered the question.
Definitely. Yes, I think the screening process itself before any communication starts, as well as the user-based reporting system that we have, definitely minimizes, if not fully prevents, pretty much any sort of fraud or phishing activity happening over RCS. But Vinu, do not mute yourself. You are becoming more and more popular in the question section. So I would maybe both invite Shraddha and you here. We have a question asking on expectations for iOS support in India for RCS messages as well. How have you two seen this? Maybe you can just touch in general how RBM RCS is happening in terms of iOS adoption, and then Shraddha, maybe you can reflect back to specifically to India here.
Yeah, so Apple announced that they are adopting RCS in their messaging client somewhere in the middle of last year. As of iOS release 18.1, the capability is built in with the Apple Messages client, but that rollout happens network by network and country by country. As we speak, RCS enabled iOS clients are available for use in North America and Western Europe. There is a certain launch plan where network after network comes on board and comes live. That is a result of integration between Apple, the telecom operator, and Google. It's a fairly complex process. So there is efforts going towards that. I unfortunately don't have a time frame that I can reveal at this point on when Apple devices in India would start seeing RCS enablement. Yeah, that being said, that impacts a very small number of users, as far as I understand, in India. More than 90% of the user base is Android, and all devices, as they come out of the factory itself, has Android messages and RCS enabled. It doesn't need a user to go and download a different app. It doesn't need a user to go click a certain button to activate or anything. It's enabled by default on most devices in India. Anything you need to add to that, Shraddha?
I think you covered for iOS. That's what I would have said also, that it's a carrier integration in progress right now. So if that happens in this year, it should come out. But no dates have been told. But the integration is in process, so it should not be very far also.
Okay. Thank you. And definitely, I can add just a bit on Infobip side as well. The failover capabilities, as well as this omni-channel approach that we have as well, mitigates this as a business obstacle for any business out there as well. Adopting RCS, even in the initial stages before the full iOS support is there, even it immediately becomes available as a viable option as well, right? So it absolutely moves in that direction. Jarvis, I'll ask you to join in on the conversation. We have a question asking if we can actually use the rich cards as a template, so it's easier to reuse them at a later date.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, of course. So all the options that I presented just now, including rich cards, you can basically save it as templates for future usage. Definitely.
Okay, that's really good to hear. And then circling back to previous statement as well, when we talk about people or recipients who cannot receive RCS or don't have it enabled as well, what happens to a message that's formulated with a video or a photo as part of the content? What happens to that?
At this point, what it would happen is it would basically you receive an SMS, of course. The RCS you'll definitely so pretty simply, it will translate into SMS, but with a lot of the media file would just presented either message or a link, depending on the service providers.
Okay, and how the failover itself has been set up, correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's very important to know. Okay, moving on. Vinu, a quick question for you is, do we know when RCS is going to become available for Philippines?
I do know that there are conversations happening between Google and carriers in the Philippines. I don't have a date yet, and that's not how we usually roll with. We kind of wait for the carrier to announce it when they are ready. There is a lot of work that's happening today. I don't think we are at a stage where we can actually communicate a date for Philippines launch yet. But yeah, definitely at advanced stages of conversation with the carriers there.
It's in the pipeline.
Definitely.
Perfect. Okay, we have a question here. Sorry, Shraddha.
I was like, who asked this question? Someone from IB?
Yeah, probably somebody from Infobip, correct.
Yeah.
We have a couple of questions coming from Bangladesh. The first one is there any data available on the number of users? There is, Bangladesh is a predominantly Android market if we're looking at competitive mobile operating systems, right? At the same time, there are no particular data to be shared in the number of users, as it is a proprietary business information. But pretty much there are different third-party statistics that are very accurate nowadays to estimate some market coverage as well. Shraddha, do you have anything else to add on this?
I'm sorry, which Bangladesh question? Actually, I was reading the question from Fatah or
from Mr. Muhammad Ariful. Is there any available number of users in Bangladesh?
are there any available? I'm sorry,
number of users available. It's okay, no problem.
Yeah, we'll get back to
Is there?
the users. I'll get back with numbers. I don't, remember as of now. But I was reading questions from Bangladesh on perception. So on
Sure.
perception, RCS and it coming as SMS. So basically, Fatah, hi Fatah, we've met. So the thing is, even in India and other countries, generally, it lands on. Of course, everywhere it lands on the SMS window only. But the point we're trying to bring across in the comparison with SMS and WhatsApp today also is that it lands in your SMS window. But unlike SMS, it comes with a lot of rich features, where where user can easily distinguish and connect more with the messages, because it comes along with images, videos. So I think it's a better experience, and it takes time for the market to adopt. So it did happen that India suddenly one day we sent RCS messages, and we had great results. Over a period of time, we have to wait also for people to adopt and connect with these messages, until we reach a stage in India where we are actually engaging with businesses are engaging with customers for more conversational and meaningful use cases. So I think it's also about time, market, how do we wait for people to actually adopt and connect to RCS messages. So for that, we have to start somewhere. I think this is where we are in Bangladesh. So that's what I would like to say.
Excellent. Thank you, Shada. Thank you very much. I guess Mr. Fatah can reach out to you as well at a later date
Yeah, please.
for any additional detailed discussions. Okay. We have a question here from Salisa. How does the product differ from WhatsApp, seeing that WhatsApp has penetrated more than 90% of Indonesian population, maybe relatively larger than users than for Google Messages in Indonesia? They would like to know how this actually is sort of like to be answered towards the questions that customers ask themselves as well. Well, yes, definitely WhatsApp has a massive. Just as a note, I am based out of Jakarta myself. I have lived in Indonesia for 6 years now. So I definitely understand the hold and the penetration that WhatsApp has in the communications industry as well. However, RCS is natively available on any inbox or any device that users have. And we know for a fact that Indonesia is majorly dominated Android market as well, in terms of market share for mobile phones and operating system coverage as well. It is important to say that this primarily the difference stems from what would be the application of the technology or the service itself. Both Vinu and Shraddha have spoken about the native interaction between RCS and the SMS inbox together with other apps inside the phone itself. So if we're talking about applications of use cases such as appointment booking, restaurants, medical facilities, anything of like, this is exactly where the sweet spot is, for example, for people to adopt RCS. And that's exactly where the biggest difference comes from in some of these use cases. Then additionally, at later date as well, we know that us in Indonesia, we do a lot of searching for different products and different businesses as well. Having that ability to click from search and go straight to the chat with the business as well to avoid saving the number, finding the number itself, just increases the user convenience. And I think that's one of the primary, let's say, benefits, both from the user and the business perspective as well, how RCS differs from WhatsApp. Circling to a question from Robin, is this applicable for iOS? We covered this with Vinu's response before. iOS adoption is still ongoing. Apple is working together with Google and the telcos to increase adoptions and number of integrations for supported devices and markets altogether. Okay. Definitely the biggest section of the Q&A is understanding the difference between WhatsApp and RCS. And I think we can all join here to a certain degree, having these experiences. Jarvis from Singapore, Shraddha from India, Vinu from Singapore himself, as well as myself in Indonesia, that are all WhatsApp dominated markets. I think that both chat applications, channels for communication have their own spot in the ecosystem. For a more complex integration, again, that enables a more native experience, that facilitates interactive use cases that are able to link an entire ecosystem. RCS is probably the strongest player right now in pretty much any market out there, whether they are competing with WhatsApp, with Viber, Zalo, any other chat application as well. But definitely there are some benefits to the use of WhatsApp, such as an already familiar environment, both in personal and business life of our subscribers and end users. There is an important aspect to understanding that WhatsApp has been on this application to person ecosystem for several years now as well. And while RCS is a channel that is just starting, per se, as we like to say in Infobip. So this is gonna, in the long run, all of this is gonna balance itself out, and utilizing business messaging partners, the likes of Infobip or any of our respected competitors as well, is what's going to bring the edge to the business when it comes to integrating their users in their communications as well. But I don't know, Shada, Vinu, do you folks have anything to add on top of this?
Okay. So, I think, Dennis, you majorly covered all, but yeah, I mean, RCS is a fair new channel, and I think in one of the questions, the user, themselves, the attendee themselves answered that, we will figure out a way. WhatsApp is already established. RCS will find its own way. When it comes to usage of messages, there has been a lot of adoption around marketing for sure. And now we are in that phase, especially in markets like India, where, it's been a while that we've started RCS. So, uh, after the marketing piece, we see a lot of adoption, because the engagement, because of the richness of the channel, the engagement is showing like good numbers. Whereas when it comes to, like, I'll also answer one of the questions about BFSI, which is very regulated market. So in similar manner, like WhatsApp, SMS is mandated. Neither are all the OTT channels. I would categorize this as OTT channels. So here, but you also see a lot of WhatsApp messages, and now in India we see a lot of RCS messages. So here also we found a way to coexist. SMS of course is mandatory, so SMS is being sent, but we see a lot of important information. It may not be transactional, coming in from WhatsApp as well as RCS. So here you already see the coexistence of both the channels, like RCS heavily adopted for marketing, and we see WhatsApp coming in with some information related to banking, not exactly transactional. So similarly, the market is evolving and will evolve to a coexistence where you will have the right channel to reach out to your right set of customers. So I think this is where it is leading to.
Yeah, if I may add, the way that we envisage RCS is an upgrade on SMS. We feel that it needs to be as ubiquitous, which means it has to be available on all devices across the world. That's where we're heading towards. If you had asked the reach numbers a year back and compared that to the numbers today, there's probably tremendous growth, which is not feasible for most OTT applications to drive organically. You have a certain kind of plateau which is existing in most markets. Every market, as Shraddha was alluding to, has their on preferred messaging client, and that is there to stay. But none of them is truly universal and ubiquitous across the world, which I feel would be of great value to a brand. And that's why SMS has been so successful across the world, for becoming a channel for brand communication, right? So, and I feel that's going to be the way it's going to be for RCS as well. Commercial and enterprises would continue to converse with users more on your messages inboxes. There is a limitation when it comes to the OTT application, because they're primarily meant for a different sort of communication. There will be so much of tolerance that would be there for brand communications on those applications, which is very different from RCS. So to sum it up, the potential for RCS to become truly ubiquitous is much, much more than most OTT applications. Second is the user market kind of fit, in the sense the messages inbox is the right and acceptable channel for brand communication. You might see higher read rates on OTT application or something which I'm using it and opening it up n number of times in a day to talk to my family or friends and so on. That's a very different kind of perception than from seeing a brand communication when I want and I'm willing to see that brand communication from. There is a question on whether presenting a communication at a time when I don't want it has the intended benefit of it. So from a fit perspective, from a reach perspective, the potential of RCS is tremendous.
Definitely. Thank you very much for chiming in, both of you. I think it's an important question, and through this we have answered on several ones, asking about the unique value proposition comparing to WhatsApp, as well as benefit of RCS towards WhatsApp as well. There's there are merits to it, and again, it just depends on how we prefer to use or apply different use cases in businesses where we communicate to our users as well. Jarvis, I would love to draw you back into the fold. We have a question as to whether Infobip provides a systematic onboarding support for users to manage their portal as well. So what can you share to our guests about this?
The short answer is yes. Systematic onboarding. Of course, when you do subscribe to our services, a lot of the, let's say, the understanding of like configurations, how to set registrations and setups, whatnot. Usually, all the stuff we will basically hold your hand and then like basically go through all the process that's required in order to make sure that you can send out all the messages based on the channels that you of your choice, specifically and especially RCS when it comes to sending messages on our platform.
Okay, that's really good to know. Pretty much we support partners and clients from the get-go, from the sensitive steps of onboarding, as well as to later adopting different business cases, expanding them, and just understanding all the potential that the platform can do itself as well. And we do not let our partners and clients on their own on this. We participate actively in every step of the way when it comes to this. So. Sada, I'll quickly turn back to you. We have a question as to sending authentication messages by RCS for BFSI use cases and whether it's allowed in India. What would you be able to share on this?
As of now, we are not doing authentication services in India over RCS.
Thank you. Connecting this RCS charging, we have a question also from Deepa as to how the charging model for this works. RCS is not categorized based on use case types that we have with some existing chat applications, but by the type of a message that we send. We support two ways of sending a message: a basic textual only message called basic, and a message that has all the rich features enabled called a single message, and charging is done per those messages. Additionally, there is a two-way session charge happening for discussions and agents that are registered as conversational agents as well, in which case the charging is done conversationally as well. That is towards the businesses consuming this as a communication solution. However, looking at a question by Alex as to how is RCS billing done, when it comes to user billings and how it applies. And Shada to join me in this. From my side, at least seeing in Singapore and sorry, Indonesia, there are no additional charges by the telco towards the users of sending RCS messages to businesses as well. Shada, I don't know if there are any additional experiences from India that you and the team have had.
There are no end user charges. There are no user charges for RCS for receiving RCS messages. It's completely a business API for which business pays to providers like us.
Excellent. Tarun, we have a lot of more questions left ahead of us. Maybe we can respond to them privately. We have maybe, yeah, exactly. We have a minute left on the time slot. I don't know how much we can breach this.
Sure, Dennis.
Yeah.
Do you want to take maybe a last question or maybe summarize this?
I'll briefly summarize our discussion. We went in several directions during this, but it was important to answer all aspects of both technical, let's say administrative, as well as the business applications as well. RCS is a service that is developing in a lot of markets. There is going to be a global availability at one point in time. Naturally, different telcos, every telco in every country has to come on board with this as well. This is a phased rollout naturally, and markets are developing. We can testify to this in Infobip. We have year-on-year growth in all the markets that are RCS enabled, and this is yet to come. Naturally, there are always going to be comparisons between how it works compared to SMS, to WhatsApp, to Viber, Facebook Messenger, pretty much any other chat application out there. And it goes without question that every one of these has its own application. RCS is going to be one of the main channels in the future, enabling having backed both by Google and the telcos, enabling a more rich approach to standard SMS messaging, again, in that native inbox. And it will just continue expanding all the communications we do with our users as businesses, allowing our customers to reach out to us or us to reach out to them, both with promotional content, different notifications, but also listening to them, their feedback, their complaints, their customer related support tickets, or anything else in the future as well. But we will look forward to talking to everybody about this, enabling everybody with RCS, both Google and Infobip together, all around Asia Pacific, India, Singapore, Indonesia today. Tomorrow it's going to be Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia, and all the other countries around. Tarun, you're still muted. I can see you're speaking, but we can't hear you.
Yes. Thanks for that, Dennis. Yeah, thanks for that summary, Dennis. As we wrap up today's session on next generation messaging with RCS, I want to extend a huge thanks to all our speakers. I would like to thank Infobip, Google, and of course all our attendees for joining us today. We hope you are walking away with valuable insights on how RCS can elevate your customer engagement. If you have any further questions or would like to explore RCS, feel free to connect with us at Infobip, and Infobip will definitely help you out. You can also reach out to Global Tech Nexus, and we'll make sure we connect you with Infobip. Thank you once again for your time and participation.